Mother of 14-year-old school shooter breaks silence, reveals horrifying text from son that led her to call the dad. A tragic school shooting has once again captured the nation's attention. The mother of the teenager responsible for the attack recently revealed her child's chilling words prior to the event. This has sparked outrage online, with some users calling for her to face legal consequences. On September 4th, 2024, a 14-year-old student opened fire at Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia. The shooting, which occurred as students returned from a holiday weekend, left 4 dead, 2 14-year-old students and 2 teachers, while 9 others were injured. The victims of the tragic shooting at Appalachia High School were identified as student Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Engel, along with teachers Richard Aspinwall, 39, and Christina Iremi, 53. Students shared their terrifying experiences during the shooting. A 14-year-old girl recounted how she managed to block the suspect from entering her classroom after spotting him with a gun. In another classroom, students pulled a wounded teacher to safety, using their shirts to stop his bleeding while barricading the door with desks and chairs. One teenage boy described how, while rushing to close his classroom door to keep the shooter out, he realized he had already been shot. On the morning of that fateful day, Colt's classmate Lyella Sayrath shared that a school administrator had entered their math class shortly before the incident. There appeared to be confusion due to another student having the same name as Colt. Neither student was present at the time, and the administrator left with the backpack of the similarly named student. Minutes later, the shooting began. Earlier that day, Colt's mother, Marcy Gray, called the school after discovering something concerning about her son, said her sister, Annie Brown, adding she feared an impending disaster. Colt had apologized to his mother in a text message before committing the crime, writing, "I'm sorry, Mom." After receiving the cryptic text, Marcy shared that she called the school counselor. She told them that it was an extreme emergency, adding they should go and find Colt immediately. Following the publication of the incident, Marcy declined to further explain on what made her contact the school to warn them. However, she divulged that she had disclosed the information to the police. She called the shooting absolutely horrific and expressed remorse for those affected. "I am so sorry and cannot fathom pain and suffering they are going through right now," said Marcy. Social media reactions were mixed. While some users commented on the mother's appearance in comparison to her son, writing, "She got that cray-cray look and both have the crazy eyes," others called for her to face legal consequences, holding her partly responsible for the tragedy. One person wrote, "This was allowed to happen," and another asked, "Is she under arrest too? Is she just like the dad, wondering?" Someone else suggested she should be arrested, charged too. Just a week before the tragedy, Colt's family and the school had been in communication about concerns over his mental health. The suspect's grandmother had gone to his school to seek help from a counselor. According to screenshots provided by Annie, the grandmother reportedly wrote, "He starts with a therapist tomorrow." Meanwhile, Annie confided to a relative that he was experiencing homicidal and suicidal thoughts. She disclosed Colt was begging for help from everybody around him for months. "The adults around him failed him," she added. Annie, who lives in Central Florida, did not provide many details about Colt's mental health issues, but mentioned she had been trying to assist from a distance. In text messages shared with another publication, she expressed concerns in August 2024 about her nephew having access to a gun. In addition, Annie said her nephew's struggles were worsened by a challenging home environment. The teen's mother had pleaded guilty to family violence charges in December 2020 and was ordered to avoid contact with Colt's father, Colin Gray. As for Colt, the authorities have since apprehended him after the shooting incident following a brief standoff. They announced plans to charge him with murder and try him as an adult. Colt had been on the radar of federal authorities over a year before the shooting due to anonymous tips about threats of violence at a school. The FBI passed these concerns to local police, who interviewed him and his father. The father and son duo were questioned by law enforcement in May 2023 regarding online threats to commit a school shooting that featured photos of guns, according to a joint statement from the FBI Atlanta and the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Colt, then 13, denied the accusations, telling investigators that someone is accusing him of threatening to shoot up a school, stating that he would never say such a thing, even in a joking manner, said the authorities. They were unable to verify the threats, and the investigation was closed, per the sheriff's office. Although Colin acknowledged having hunting guns at home, he assured authorities that his son did not have unsupervised aventures to them. While the preteen denied making the threats, local schools were still warned about him. Colin, 54, has been charged after revealing to authorities that he purchased the AR-style rifle used in the shooting as a holiday gift for his son in December 2023. This purchase came just months after law enforcement initially questioned him about online threats. He now faces 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children, according to sources familiar with the investigation. The tragic events at Apalachee High School have left a community in shock and mourning, as the devastating loss of young lives and educators continues to weigh heavily on all involved. As authorities move forward with the investigation and charges, questions about accountability and the need for improved mental health resources and safety measures in schools remain at the forefront.
This morning, chilling new details about the day a 14-year-old gunman opened fire at his Georgia high school. NBC News has learned from the shooter's aunt that a half hour before the deadly shooting, the gunman's mother called Apalachee High School to warn them about her son. In messages obtained by the Washington Post, Marcy Gray texted her sister about the call. "I told them it was an extreme emergency and for them to go immediately and find my son to check on him." Staff at the high school took action, the Post reports, but not in time to stop the shooting that killed 4 people. The accused shooter seen in court for the first time Friday in shackles.
You're charged with 4 counts of felony murder.
His father, Colin Gray, also facing charges of involuntary manslaughter and second-degree murder, both pleading not guilty.
And do you have weapons in the house?
I do.
Are they accessible to him?
They are. I mean, there's nothing loaded, but they are down.
Newly obtained audio from a 2023 interview with investigators revealing the father's reaction to allegations that his son made shooting threats online last year.
I'm telling you right now, we talk about it quite a bit. All the school shootings, things that happen.
Yeah,
Hey, are you getting picked on at school? He is. He's getting picked on at school, and is everything okay? That's why I keep going up there.
2 law enforcement sources familiar with the investigation tell NBC News the shooter received an AR-15 style rifle from his father after that 2023 interview. This morning, the small town of Winder coming together to honor the lives lost.
He was taken too soon from us. We are so devastated.